Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm joined once again by my friend Anthony Francis from the Movie Review and Screen Comment. He was my superior opinion friend for the Substance Review, and we both had some strong opinions about Baby Girl. So I thought, it's the perfect movie to bring you back for.
Yay. I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. What you guys didn't see is that he did have the little not the monocle, but the little pipe, because he's super
I'm a
snobby.
snob. I'm a movie snob.
He is a movie snob, a very big movie snob. Anyway, so Baby Girl, Nicole Kidman's newest film, comes out on Christmas Day. It's an interesting choice for this type of film, but I
Nothing
guess
Christmas like Baby Girl and Nosferatu.
true. So I guess if you're tired of your family, you can either go watch Nosferatu about, you know, a different version of Dracula, or you can watch Baby Girl, which is about a high-powered CEO woman who puts her career and family on the line when she begins a torrid affair, that's a strong word, with a much younger intern. Okay, so I don't even know really where to start with this one. I feel like this one, like Substance, I feel like we knew where to start, and this one I
Yeah,
just don't know where to start. So I'm gonna start with you because, that's the easy way out. What'd you
that's
think?
all right. Yeah, I'll do the heavy lifting. Let's start at the beginning. Well, here's very quickly. I and let me explain this, everyone. I miss the days when pseudo explicit human sexuality between adults was dealt with in movies. After after the Puritan 50s, the 60s kind of teased it, and then kind of at the push of European filmmakers, American films started dealing more honestly with sex in the 70s, 80s, and some of the 90s. And over the last 20 plus years, we've gotten more puritanical. And I feel like I should have my pipe in for this. And
I told you he was a snob. Listen to him in the
right.
60s.
And you see the crossover. But we become more puritanical. Nobody wants to show realistic. If sex is in a movie, it's either pre or post-coital, which is another phrase we'll probably be using here in a few minutes. But so over the last like 3 years, maybe four, there's been a push for more realistic depictions of not just the act, but human sexuality. And I appreciate that films like Anora, that's just comes to mind because it's this year. But and I was interested in this because it's from the writer director of Bodies, 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 and I really liked that movie a lot. I thought that was a blast. And so I'm like, oh, she's gonna bring some, darkly humorous, pseudo-erotic take on it. And the movie is humorous, but in parts where it's not supposed to be. I think that she made the bold move, the very first, and we won't give away big spoilers, or any spoilers, but the very first scene is Nicole Kidman having sex with her husband, a rather fantastic Antonio Banderas, but he doesn't have too much to do until a moment.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna say he has a
yeah,
moment, and it was probably my favorite moment of the whole
it's
film.
the best moment of the film. Yeah, and we can't speak of it, unfortunately. But and the camera is on her face, and for a moment, I do like the opening because for a moment we're like, oh, she's in the middle of an amazing moment with her husband. And then as the scene goes on about what would you say 3 to 4 minutes, um, it comes to pass that she is not. She is trying to, and
Hmm.
eventually gives up and just gives this phony performance. And I thought that was going to be the spark of what I spoke about. Oh, this is going to be some kind of, brilliantly, comical but serious movie on human, and no, and it really from there goes into ridiculous places, and not just because of the act. There were moments when I was saying, and you said it too. Have you ever experienced, you know? anything above the regular vanilla study? Did you read? One of the biggest problem for me is the casting of her young lover.
Yeah.
And
That's
forgive
been the
me,
consensus of like everyone that I've spoken to. It's just,
he
and I like him in other things, so it's not even that it's like the actor and I'm like, oh, I don't like him.
yeah.
But it's definitely
Um
in this movie. I'm like,
yeah, he
mm.
didn't work, and the way he was written, I understand they're trying to show that he's fumbling around trying to, oh wow, she's open to this. I need to do it. But I don't know if it was in the writing or his performance. Nothing worked. There's not, a moment of palpable heat, I guess. I mean, Harris Dickinson is a good actor in other things. I've only seen him in a couple. But and I know his character is supposed to be fumbling around, but it seems like he was fumbling around trying to find his character, and it just didn't work. And how script-wise, how Kidman's character nearly immediately falls for this guy, or falls not falls for, but falls under his.
It it was so unbelievable for me. I think there were some good moments in the overall, so I feel like we're just focusing on negative. There were some
Oh,
good
no, I was gonna get
moments
there.
overall.
Yeah.
Um, but as somebody who is definitely not a demure, meek, mild female, I laughed at, like you said, it wasn't funny when it was supposed to be funny. It was funny when they were trying to be serious. I was like, this is ridiculous. There
Yeah.
is no way any of that would have worked on me at all. Like I told a fellow friend of ours, a fellow critic friend of ours, I was like, if a man sent me a glass of milk, this is in the trailer, at the bar, I would walk over, dump it in his lap, and slap him across the face with the glass. Like, what are you doing? That's the dumbest thing. And she drinks it, and then there's like more milk stuff later, and I was like, what is happening? Because this ain't it. I don't know what it was supposed to be, but this isn't it. So he was never believable as an alpha male. He was never believable that he could boss around a woman who has clearly like clawed her way to the top of this industry.
Yeah.
And her husband is Antonio Banderas, who's not unattractive and was definitely giving off more like, if you want to go the whole masculine macho thing, he was definitely giving off more masculine vibes than this dude. So I'm like,
Mm.
if that was her thing, like she needed a man, a manly man, she literally has one at home
Yeah, as I say,
who's
go home.
way more manly than this kid at her job.
Yeah, and I think that's a fault of the casting in both the main guy and her husband. Antonio Banderas is such a strong actor, and from what I hear, is a rather hot guy and a handsome fella. But no, he's very, he has the machismo, and even though I loved him, and for me, he's the best thing in the film, but maybe not cast Antonio Banderas as the husband. I don't know. That there are scenes where that do work. I think the buildup of her, even though when she gets there we don't like it. I think the buildup of her opening, seeing him in the office and glaring from her office with big windows, and I think that all works. And their first few conversations, you can feel the beginnings of it building up. Um, and then, but it's when you get there that it all falls. But I think it's very well paced in the beginning. I think it is well handled. The at home, her at home life, her work life, and then her attraction to this young guy. Um, uh, I don't know, maybe not cast. He seemed like a temp walking around, and I'm like, how do you even get there with it with that? I mean, I know he was a was he an apprentice or what
He
was
was an
he?
intern.
Or an intern. That's what I meant. Apprentice. Yeah, he was an intern. Nicole Kidman. Okay. I like her as an actress. I thought she was very good here, even in the sex scenes, which didn't work. Um, I thought she portrayed it well. that she's, because there are moments with her. Okay, am I doing this?
Hmm.
Just she used her face again. And I thought she was very good. I don't like when people say that's a brave performance.
I was gonna say I hate that too.
No, I won't say that, but what I will say is in today's Hollywood, it's an interesting role for her stature, for an actress of her stature to take, and I'm glad she did
I
it.
think she did a good job with her with portraying the conflict and the like wanting to seek out this feeling, this high essentially, but
Yeah,
also like not wanting to destroy her family in the process. You know, because
right.
that's a line. Um, and yes, Antonio Banderas literally has the best whole scene in the whole movie. It's towards the end. He
Mm.
has a great, it's great. It's great. It was
Yeah.
like my like favorite part. I was like, no notes. I love this.
Hmm.
The the issue was always her relationship with Harris. And it's not that they didn't have chemistry. I just think the writing, the story wasn't there for me. What I wanted from the story was either the full on, here's this strong woman who's having an affair with this younger guy, and not even that that matters, but that he's showing her, like putting her in her place, like being more dominant, and that's like what she wants. Or does he have mommy issues because they kind of like swerves, he swerves with his motives. Like,
Right.
he's not just some male like trying to be in charge of females. He's kind of like, oh, this is fun, like you were saying, and he's like fumbling around trying to figure out how to I guess do that for her, but also he doesn't really understand what he's doing. So then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, are we getting that conflicted? He really was just searching for a strong woman to kind of help him and guide him along, and they both would mutually benefit off
Mm.
of that. And then we didn't get that either. And so I just was trying to figure out exactly what they were trying to get at because I
Big,
really don't see how it ends. I don't see why we needed to do all that we did to get to that ending.
get there. Right. Yeah, and we won't talk about it, but it's a betrayal of the themes that the movie was exploring, I think. And to what you said, where he's trying to find his way, the one scene that really didn't work for me, and I won't get into detail, but he is fumbling around asking her things and about, sexual stuff, and she tells him what she wants. So then he says, okay, and starts dominating her. Um, that that's not, I'm sure that's not how it works. I mean, I can't write a book on the subject, but I'm pretty positive that's not how it works. The dynamic isn't set up properly, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's someone takes power, someone submits.
Hmm.
That's what it is. And they didn't get it. They didn't. They tried to get it, and it didn't work. Did you ever see Fatal Attraction or 9.5 Weeks?
Like a million years ago.
Okay. Well, I wasn't around when they came out, so I haven't seen them. No,
He's That's my
I
line. My line is I wasn't alive when that came out.
only you're not lying. Anyway, no, 9.5 Weeks, I think, is one of the best movies about human sexuality because it explores how Kim Basinger character goes under the spell of the Mickey Rourke character, which at the time wasn't too hard for women to do. But he's a
Really?
oh, back then, do you know Mickey Rourke back then?
No.
Oh, I'll send you some photos later. You'll be like, wow. But oh yeah, he was almost beautiful. I mean that. Yeah. If you only know the Mickey Rourke of today, you're gonna freak out. You're gonna argue with me that that's not Mickey Rourke. But anyway, his character in 9.5 Weeks is a dominant. She's a woman out of a breakup, and we see the progression of why she falls under his spell. I guess I brought up Fatal Attraction because you have to believe why a person would cheat on their in a movie like this would cheat on their spouse. My point, I did not believe, as we spoke about, that she would cheat on Antonio Banderas with Harris.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, honestly, as soon as I saw the casting options, I was like, really? I mean, really?
yeah, well, I
Are you
agree, but
sure?
I thought maybe, maybe they'll give a reason. That's what I was trying to get to. They'll give a reason, and they didn't. It's just all of a sudden she's tired of being in power. So, and they try to make Banderas a little too lovey-dovey, I think, in his intro scenes.
In the beginning, but then there's that shift and we see, and I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
maybe she should have just been like, I need you to do this.
Yeah. Why did she not say it to her husband, but to this, you know,
Like, I
intern?
think it would have been more believable if there was that conversation with her husband and then it just didn't work. Like, he
Right.
just couldn't do what she needed him to do. And then it makes more sense. Even the scene where she meets Harris's character and it's like with the dog and it's like the whole metaphor of he can like
Yeah.
calm the dog down. I mean, I don't know about you, but you see animals around all the time and like
Yeah.
people interacting with them. I took my dog. I have a 1-year-old husky. She went to training. I took her. It did nothing for me.
You didn't have a bunch of guys following you like, hey, dominate me.
No, and I wasn't like, oh, hey, this person knows how to train a dog. Yes, sign me
Right.
up for that.
Here's my number. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it just was so bizarre to me. Bizarre. It was a bizarre setup, and it just got more bizarre as the time went
Yeah.
on. I think so. I think this movie definitely has an audience. I think Nicole Kidman fans will really enjoy it. And just like 50 Shades had an audience, Baby Girl will have an audience. And I mean, just because I didn't like it, Anthony didn't like it, doesn't mean you won't like it. So if it's
That's true.
intriguing you, then go for it. Maybe you'll have a totally different opinion. When we left that night, I was probably one of the only women that was laughing and was not like won over by it, is what I'll say.
I think that it's needed at the same time, even though we didn't like it. I hope it is one of the sparks to continue I keep saying this, adult explorations of human sexuality. And this at least does that. And it really reaches for the fence or stars or whatever. And something you said earlier, how she sees him with the dog, and that ignites, she sees him controlling this out of control dog, calming it down. That ignites her interest. Because it was that, a dog, like you said. Um, that's why I thought, oh, she's gonna go like weirdly comical with this. But no, and then it goes serious from there, and it was a roller coaster of unintended and intended laughs, brutally serious conversations. One of them is the best in the film. And but all of these things I say, for me anyway, I think for you too in a way, it is eminently watchable. I wasn't checking my watch that I don't have and wondering what time, are we almost over? Is this done? I wasn't doing that. I was always interested in where we were going next. But I will say, Kidman is really good. Banderas is great. Harris, whatever, is miscast. But in the end, I like that the director tried something like this in today's climate. So at the very least, I appreciate that. It
I
was the
agree.
execution that failed me.
Yeah, I agree. So Baby Girl is out Christmas Day. That's in 2 days. Gosh, on
Mm.
Netflix. I know it snuck up on me. Christmas did, not Baby Girl. One more time, tell everybody where they can find you at and your work.
They can find me at the movie review, oops, the moviereview.com, and it's Revue, as you see, screencomment.com, and on X and Instagram, or on, sorry, Instagram at the movie review, and on X, Anthony Screen C, capital C, the number one.
All right. And we
And
call
on
that
your
Twitter
show,
here, not X. So That's like strike
All
number
right.
like 10 for you today.
I hate social media. I don't care what it's called. I'm there. Come
I'm
find me.
teaching him though. I'm teaching him. I feel like Selena Gomez and Only Murders in the Building. And you're
Oh,
my Steve Martin and Martin Short.
I hope people see this. I encourage people to see this. Like you said, make up your own mind. But I think it needs to be seen.
I agree. It should be seen. And like you said, I hope it continues the trend of Hollywood being less prudish and more realistic when it comes to relationships of
There
all
you go.
types.
All right.
Well, thank you again, and thank you all for watching. And if you like this video, we'd love a thumbs up and a subscribe. And if not, I'm sorry, I won't have Anthony back. It's all his fault, right?
Maybe
Exactly.
bye forever, folks.
Bye.